up, besties? A new batshit insane executive order just dropped. I'm gonna take this one and compare it to this one because the crossover is really important to me. He wants all historic sites and educators and schools and public museums to only emphasize America's greatness and progress and avoid any language that could disparage Americans, even if they were, say, enslavers or war criminals. These executive orders are mandating a narrative shift. This new one, he's mad that museums, historians, and educators are telling the truth about our country's frankly ugly history. Trump says Americans have been subjected to a revisionist movement that portrays our nation as, and I quote, inherently racist, sexist, oppressive, or otherwise irredeemably flawed. You know what I think about that. Truth doesn't divide us, but denying it does. The only people who feel oppressed by accurate history are... And then he targets the Smithsonian, which includes the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which acknowledges race, obviously, and the American Women's History Museum, which includes trans women, obviously, and many more. So he's pissed that they're engaging with topics like systemic racism, gender, and power. Like, what do you think history is, sir? Obviously, if you can control what people are taught about the past, you shape how they act in the future. With this executive order, he wants to withhold federal funding for museums that talk about race, gender, oppression, or structural inequality. This executive order also orders a full review of all public monuments removed since 2020, aka statues of Confederates and colonizers that local communities decided they no longer wanted on public land. Trump would like them put back. He calls it restoring history. Of course he does. Now let's look back at this one, which is a plan to pull federal funding from any school, teacher, or training program that even acknowledges concepts like equity, systemic racism, gender identity, or privilege. And it reinstates the 1776 Commission. That was the Trump era counter to the 1619 Project. I have done a deep dive on this already, but just nightmarish in general. And if you are a history teacher or a museum educator, they are directly targeting you. And by extension, all of us, current and future voters. This erasure is a lie, and it's damaging.